So, Rich, before we get into talking about today's subject, which is the Broncos offense, we need to talk about the breaking news that happened yesterday, and that's the signing of one J.J. Watt to Arizona. Now, I've been watching the sports shows the last yesterday and today, and you know what? I think the one that I lean my opinion on agreeing with the most is the one with Shannon Sharp. He basically said that he doesn't see the addition of J.J. Watt to that Cardinals defense to make it say like, okay, now this team's a Super Bowl contender. Because as great as J.J. Watt was when he first started, the last couple of years he's been injury plagued, and he hasn't really shown that he can be that type of guy. Now he's joining a very talented defense which is led by, ironically, one Vance Joseph. So while I do agree that he could find succession in Arizona, I don't think that it's going to be. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it puts Arizona in the map in terms of, hey, it's Super Bowl or nothing.
No, I mean, in all fairness, though, who else did the Texans have on their defense?
Well, they had Clowney for a short time.
Aside from that, he showed up and he's not there anymore. I mean, like realistically, no, and I'm more referring to last season too, right? So Clowney was over with well, even for a short time there. Clowney was with was it the Titans, wasn't he, for a little bit? But really, what it comes down to is JJ was really the center point and the centerpiece of that defense. Now he was getting paid as such as well, which makes a lot of sense for that to be the case. But there was no one else really that was there that was a focal point or a focus point for any of the opposing offenses. So it doesn't really matter who you are. If you can get triple teamed most of the time, or even a double team and then like a chip or whatever the case may be, you're probably not going to get back into the backfield all that often. But what you are going to do is basically drive all the attention to you, and then that should leave the rest of the defense to have free reign. Problem is that when your defense isn't particularly good, the only thing they're hitting free is free agency the following year, because they're not that, the team just wants to cut them. So I actually disagree with Shannon on that, because I think there's two things that JJ brings to any team in the NFL now. One is he can teach guys how to work, why to work that way, and to show proven success of working the way that he does. So I actually think JJ's best value to the Arizona Cardinals isn't just this season, but I actually could totally see the Cardinals doubling down on either a defensive end or trying to bolster that defensive line while JJ Watt is there, which will be totally counterintuitive to all these kind of talking heads on TV, because they're going to say, why would you go ahead and get all these draft guys and whatever to kind of fill the same position that JJ plays? Well, it's for the same reason. You want them to learn under him, because he's on a 2-year deal, and then eventually he's going to leave.
Yeah. Before we get to the comments, let me just add that I do think it's an interesting piece front line that they have, in terms of, Chandler Jones, now J.J. Watt. They have Budda Baker, and I forget the name of the other, Isaiah Simmons, the man that they drafted last season. So, I mean, it's an interesting piece, a set of guys, Rich. But when we get to free agency, it's almost like we're going to get to see what the casualty is in terms of what the Cardinals had to give up, in terms of, okay, they managed to lure in J.J. Watt, but the money they paid to have J.J. Watt has got to come out of, it's got to come out of somebody's pocket. So we know Patrick Peterson is probably not going to come back with the team, and it'll be interesting to see what who else they cut off in for free agency. But first of all, let's hello to everybody in the chat: Albert, Jason, Mohammed, Kenneth, Chad. Hello to all you guys. Thanks for joining in. Make sure you get your comments and questions in for Rich and myself. Jason O'Neill says, honestly, don't think he is chasing a ring. I like the guy, but I feel he chased the money, even though rumors said the Colts and the Browns offered more. Your thoughts, Richie?
Yeah. I guess he's referring to JJ trying to chase a ring. I don't know. He wants a ring, but you're then also banking on Kyler Murray, who's done okay but not spectacular in the NFL. Realistically, right?
Right.
So Kyler Murray does need to take that next step up, and that offense needs to take that next step up. But again, when you have a quarterback on a young, like on a rookie deal, and a young guy like Kyler, who is shown to be quite elusive in those kind of little run stretch plays and stuff like that, yeah, you can do some things because you have the cap space in order to do it.
That's right. Kenneth Booker, welcome, my friend. He says, the verdict is still out, but Chandler Jones and JJ could be nice, and a change of scenery could give him a spark. Either way, I'm excited to see how it pans out. And I was actually telling my brother this the other day, that I do believe that it can be differently said, that although Vance Joseph for us wasn't a really good head coach, so far he's been a decent defensive coordinator for Arizona. I mean, he hasn't been fantastic, and when he was in Miami before he came to Denver, it also wasn't something that was just eye-popping. So he could learn something. Not learn something. Let me phrase that. He could show something in that division, because I mean, they still have to deal with the 49ers, who are still going to boast one of the best defenses once all their guys come back healthy next season. And that's saying if they don't lose anybody in free agency or to trade. The Seahawks, the defense got a little better, but their offense, I mean, I feel sorry for Russell Wilson. You know, he's having issues now. That offensive line, if it doesn't get restructured or resettled or something, they could be in for a long season. And then the Rams, I mean, even though Brandon Staley's gone, that defense, that front line is just, with the coming back of Leonard Floyd, who's having a resurgence since leaving Chicago. I mean, that's going to be one heck of a division to be an offensive line in.
Yeah, San Fran, didn't they stack like 3 or 4 first-round defensive linemen or something in a row, and all within reasonably high picks? Like it was pretty substantial. And on top of that, not only did they not draft those, they drafted those guys high, but they actually hit. Like all of those guys hit. Like they didn't miss on I think any one. I think all 4 that they drafted all hit. So you almost wonder if we couldn't have grabbed like someone from the San Francisco kind of GM office for a Broncos GM, because they really killed it. But no, when you look at what San Fran's done and a couple of those other teams you mentioned, I agree. My only comment on VJ, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say it out loud, because I mean, how many pressers do we see with this comment? And I mean, at the end of the day, the Arizona Cardinals defense are going to just have such a great day of practice.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I mean, that practice is going to be so impressive that you're just going to say, wow, what an awesome practice. And then, at the end of all of that, those claps are going to come out on the field, and it's all about that practice.